right, come on right over here. If you look in this little hole I just dug, there's your water table. It's right almost at the surface. If you go down just a little bit, it is at the surface and you're in water. So what happens in these really wet areas is you have leaves falling every year, plants growing, but it's so wet that there's not a lot of decomposition going on because it's what we call an anaerobic, no oxygen environment. So that organic matter just builds up and makes all this really dark horizon. And that's what happens in a wetland. That's how you know you're in a wetland, if it's really organic-y. You know this is organic when you squeeze it between your fingers. It's really slippery, and it's also a lot more lightweight like that other one. If you dried it out, it would still be dark. It wouldn't lighten up. If anybody wants to feel it, you can. At the surface, you can still see some of the leaves and stuff that haven't quite decomposed all the way. So that's one type of organic material, and then down here it's all decomposed just into that nice black stuff. Down below this, where I dug, I can't quite get beyond it, but there's the rocks, and that till is down below you still. I dug right on top of a rock, so we're not going to be able to see it, but it's if you pulled up some of that material, any guesses as to what color it would be? Would it be really bright red?
Probably not.
No, it would be that same gray color like that first soil tray that we looked at, because the iron is in a reduced state, and so it's not oxidized. It hasn't gotten that red color like those others.
Can I add something about that?
Yeah.
Right, so pretty much the reason it doesn't turn red is, so like iron rusts, right? We know that exposure to water is what causes iron to rust. But the redness actually comes from the oxidation half of the reaction, and when a soil is underwater all the time, it doesn't have access to that oxygen. So that's why it stays gray. It undergoes reduction.
As the water table goes
Exactly.
down, then it would then start getting rusty.
Yep, so if we went up the hill just a little bit, where the water table is going to be going up and down through the year, you would get those redox features, where you have parts where it's oxidized, where you have those red splotches, and parts where it's grayer, where it's reduced, where you have the gray splotches. Down here, where it's wet all the time, it's never oxidizing, it's never getting that rust red color, so it's just going to be gray down there. And then when you're way up on the upland like that first one, your B horizons and stuff are just red without any splotchiness. So that's basically a real wet soil is going to look like that. A lot of organic matter on the surface and then into gray down below. And I have
You're saying,
one.
Maggie, that has to be more than like 2.5 acres spent before you start mapping it.
Yeah, so if this was just a little spot, I'm not sure. This might be a big enough extent. It probably wouldn't show up on the maps because it wouldn't be a big enough extent. I have one more. If we can carefully cross that water on the bridge, I have one.